Chris, do you get a feeling that India could perhaps adapt the template which they did against South Africa, which is have either of Rohit Sharma or Virat Kohli tell them, you know what, you bat deep, the rest have the license to go. Because we've seen across this World Cup that the moment teams have one batter who stays till the 40th, 35th, 40th, then that's half the job done.
Yeah, and look, to be honest, I think that sort of is Virat Kohli's role. You know, he's a good player. He puts the bad ball away, and he's the type of player that likes to bat long into the innings. And I think in a perfect game plan for India is to get off to a flying start, Kohli to bat through, and others to come in and chip in. But just picking up on the point that Dav made, for me, Rohit Sharma, I'm sure it's something that New Zealand will identify how important his wicket is, his presence at the crease. Forgive me for saying this, because I'm going to compare him to a great player, but he reminds me, the way that he's playing at the moment and the way he's trying to dominate with his presence at the crease, it reminds me of Viv Richards a little bit. Ooh. And I just think New Zealand will think, just because he's trying to dominate and he's trying to look, he's just got this great presence at the crease at the moment. And I think part of that is the captaincy. He's going to lead from the front. He wants to dominate the opposition. And I think if we can get him early, that just gives us a wee opening where Gill is a fine player and can be aggressive as well. But I think if we can get Gill and Kohli in early and an opportunity to perhaps get one of those out as well, I just think that's New Zealand will certainly target Rohit Sharma.
Okay, that's good praise. I know, with especially Viv. When you talk about Viv, wow. You played against Viv, so sort of. I think Chris has played as well against Viv. But just moving the needle a bit, he spoke about the New Zealand bowlers. So let's talk about the Indian bowlers. You know, great attack. They add the batters all the time. They sort of hunt in pairs. He spoke about Bumrah. Bumrah may not be getting that many wickets like a Zampa, but what, in the power play he's going at below 3 and over. Overall 3.65 pressures being created. And sort of what we are seeing now is India have gone with 5 bowlers. India have gone with 5 bowlers throughout. And that, do you see anyone in New Zealand sort of trying to take on those 5 bowlers?
Do I see anybody in New Zealand? Look, first of all, it is a terrific bowling group because they have variety and they have a wrist spinner as well to pick up some wickets in the middle overs, and he's done really well. He's improved so much to me. Jadeja, you know how I feel about him. He's just a absolutely wonderful player. But interestingly, the only time he didn't get a wicket in this tournament was against
New Zealand.
New Zealand,
yes.
Yeah. So maybe, maybe you know, the Kiwi batsman may be able to exploit that and maybe target him a little bit as well. But
how do they sort of break the rhythm? Because the moment you allow Indian bowlers to sort of have a stranglehold, it's difficult to break it. So how do they do it? Who is their go-to man? Like the last game, they had Mitchell, who started off very well, got 100, but then the team sort of collapsed in the last 10.
Well, one thing's for sure. You will never, ever do any good if you're losing wickets. So I think you've got to be a little careful how you go about this. You have to somehow or other work your butt off to get the momentum going your way. And once momentum goes your way, there's plenty of Kiwi batters that can really take advantage of it. And Mitchell is definitely one. Kane Williamson has been an absolute revelation, really, when you consider, you know, what he's had to go through to actually play in just a handful of games, and he's done so well. You know, he's vital to that team. So these guys, once momentum comes your way, and you've got to work for it, it's not going to be handed to you on a plate, because that Indian bowling team is very good, and only then I think you can really put the foot down and accelerate and make merry.
Okay, Chris, you mentioned. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just going to say, can I just touch on that really quickly? I think New Zealand, for me, are going to target 2 bowlers, Suraj and Kuldeep. I think the other 3 have been there, they've got the experience, but I think with the whole pressure of 1 billion people expecting them to win, and they're really confidence bowlers for me, Kuldeep and Suraj, and I think New Zealand will see an opportunity to go after those 2 and perhaps have to bring in a 6th bowler, whether it's a Kohli, and that may be an opportunity. That's New Zealand's only way for me to get at this bowling attack.
Oh, okay. We saw a bit of Kohli. He didn't get a wicket. Not with that ball will he get it all the time. But just because we're on New Zealand, he mentioned Kane Williamson and Mitchell. Obviously, Conway started off very well, then sort of has hit a plateau. But for you, because you're from there, what's the mood like about this this boy, Rachin Ravindra? He's taken everyone by storm. And how do you see his evolution? Initially, we thought he's a one-match wonder, especially the way he got runs against England. But he's been consistent throughout. And that's the beauty of New Zealand cricket, isn't it? They somehow always unearth these players who stand up and count at these World Cups.
Absolutely. I mean, not only did he get 3 World Cup hundreds, and he still got, hopefully, from our point of view, 2 games to go, so the potential to get 4, but it was the opposition that he got against. It was against 3 quality teams. So he has been absolutely phenomenal. We always knew he was a gifted player, really handy with the bat and handy with the ball as well. But he's just taken himself to dare I say it, because it's so early in his career, but what I've seen so far to, world-class status. I mean, he's been phenomenal. And in fact, Digger, you'll love this, the big talk in New Zealand is how he's probably set himself up for life, because we've got the IPL options coming up, and the big talk in New Zealand is how much is he going to get?
Okay, I'm now running out of time, so I'm going to ask you, starting with Dav, final thoughts. Where do you think this semi-final will be won? We know all the noise that's going to happen, but between those 22 men out there on the pitch at the Wankhede, where's this one?
Yeah, I quite firmly believe it's the team that is chasing, if they're able to withstand an onslaught. Either team bowling second is going to be a real handful. So it's the team that can, withstand that. Keep your wickets. I think it'll get a lot easier in the evening. Okay,
Chris Harris, final thoughts from you as well. Where's this match going to be won, in your opinion?
I think it's going to be won in both top orders. If either top order get going and set up a platform for the middle to lower order to finish it off, I think that's going to be the key. So from a bowling perspective, you've got to get early wickets, and if you don't, I think you're going to get hurt.